What is fascism? Here's what the United States War Department said in 1945 about fascism.
Fascism is not the easiest thing to identify and analyze, nor, once in power, is it easy to destroy. It is important for our future and that of the world that as many of us as possible understand the causes and practices of fascism in order to combat it. Fascism is government by the few and for the few. The objective is seizure and control of the economic, political, social, and cultural life of the state. The people run democratic governments, but fascist governments run the people.
The basic principles of democracy stand in the way of their desires, hence democracy must go. Anyone who is not a member of their inner gang has to do what he's told. They permit no civil liberties, no equality before the law. Fascism treats women as mere breeders. Children, kitchen, and the church was the Nazi slogan for women.
Fascists make their own rules and change them when they choose. They maintain themselves in power by use of force combined with propaganda based on primitive ideas about blood and race, by skilled manipulation of fear and hate, and by false promise of security. The propaganda glorifies war. It insists it is smart and realistic to be pitiless and violent.
Americans should not be fooled into thinking that fascism could not come to America. We once laughed off Hitler as a harmless little clown with a funny mustache. And indeed, the U.S. has experienced many instances of mob sadism, lynchings, vigilantism, terror, and suppression of civil liberties. We have had our hooded gangs, black legions, silver shirts, and racial and religious bigots. All of them, in the name of Americanism, have used undemocratic methods and doctrines which can be properly identified as fascist.
In place of international cooperation, the fascists seek to substitute a perverted sort of ultra-nationalism, which tells their people that they are the only people in the world who count. With this goes hatred and suspicion toward the people of all other nations. Fascists would insist that the world has but two choices, either fascism or communism, and they label as communists everyone who refuses to support them.
Fascists adopt names and slogans with popular appeal, drape themselves with the American flag, and attempt to carry out their program in the name of the democracy they are trying to destroy.
The way to stop fascism is by making our democracy work and by actively cooperating to preserve world peace and security. Getting men to hate rather than to think prevents them from seeking the real cause and a democratic solution to the problem.
Fascism thrives on indifference and ignorance. Freedom requires being alert and on guard against the infringement not only of our own freedom, but the freedom of every American. If we permit discrimination, prejudice, or hate to rob anyone of his democratic rights, our own freedom and all democracy is threatened.
The full text of this pamphlet on fascism is found in the March 24, 1945 edition of Army Talks, which was published by the United States War Department.
We learned about this pamphlet and used information provided in Heather Cox Richardson's January 9, 2026 Letters from an American.